Are you feeling like you've hit a wall with unexplained exhaustion no matter how much you rest? Welcome to the journey through menopause, where fatigue isn't just about feeling tired. It's a complex puzzle of hormonal shifts, sleep disturbance, and the sneakiest culprit, stress. In this video, I'll unravel the mysteries of menopause fatigue. Simple lifestyle tweaks can dramatically ease your journey. And if you're new here, I'm Dr. Gayla Gorman. I'm a licensed acupuncturist, naturopath, and author of What's Your Kryptonite? On this channel, I'm here to help you reverse the effects of chronic stress so that you can cruise through menopause symptom-free. Let's get started. We need to understand menopause fatigue and how it actually gets started. So, as we enter into menopause, our hormones fluctuate more than usual. Females have a hormonal cycle that we're accustomed to from a fairly early age, and so that's nothing new, but this adjustment is kind of a reverse course from the hormones we've been dealing with since we were teen or preteen. So that hormonal fluctuation is causing stress on our body. And so the fatigue that we're dealing with is primarily due to that additional stress. And that additional stress is causing sleep disturbance, most likely, and may even be causing anemia. If you have been really chronically tired, you may be dealing with anemia. Anemia is the byproduct of stress and a number of other factors where the blood is not effectively nourished, because even if we're taking in all the nutrients that we need to be consuming, our stomach acid may be low, our hydrochloric acid production may be inhibited because of stress, as a byproduct of stress, and that makes it nearly impossible to assimilate our nutrients, especially break down proteins, and proteins are critical to reversing anemia. So first things first, we need to deal with this chronic stress that at this point in our life is probably becoming a real issue, because the additional stress of menopause is kind of like the straw that broke the camel's back. And then as we start to reverse this stress and the effects of it, including digestive disturbances, improving our diet, eating more protein, will help to reverse anemia, whether it's full-blown anemia that can be diagnosed with blood work, or if it's just borderline anemia that is contributing to our sense of fatigue. So some of the common symptoms of fatigue are really just feeling like you don't want to get out of bed in the morning. A lot of times you may have difficulty falling asleep, difficulty staying asleep. If you get up in the middle of the night, you have problems going back to sleep. And a lot of these issues are made worse by menopause, hot flashes, sleeping hot. Our body is designed to sleep cool. And so when we're having these hot flashes, that will wake us up and make us uncomfortable, and then it's hard to get back to sleep. But some of the other issues that may not be entirely related to hot flashes can also be related to nutrient deficiencies, getting back to the digestive issues I mentioned a moment ago, because we need to have certain minerals, especially magnesium and some other electrolytes, that really help to allow our body to relax, to move into that rest and restore process. And when we're deficient, that can really create an issue. I don't typically recommend using melatonin, because melatonin is only really going to help you fall asleep. It's not going to help you stay asleep. So if you're waking up in the middle of the night or you're sleeping restlessly, it's really not going to help to take melatonin, and it may actually give you a hangover in the morning. But if you will take a little magnesium in the middle of the night, that is not going to disturb your sleep, and you may find that within just a few minutes you're falling back to sleep easily. So As I mentioned a moment ago, sleep naturally lowers your body temperature, or your body temperature naturally lowers, inducing sleep. So, if you really want to nurture this process, you want to make sure that you create sleep environment that's really comfortable and maybe even feels abnormally cool. It's typically recommended that your bedroom be 68 degrees or below. I know for us, we have a special air conditioner just in the bedroom. So when we close the door at night, we can lower the temperature in the bedroom to whatever we need to sleep comfortably without having to cool down the whole house. Another common symptom is weight gain and fat accumulation. And this again points straight back to stress and the cortisol spike, adrenal fatigue as well, that is directly related to chronic stress that has built up over time. And again, once menopause joins this party, whether it's welcome or not, that additional stress can be just more than your body can handle. This may be the first you've really heard about the connection between stress and menopause fatigue, but chronic stress prior to menopause has most likely led to adrenal fatigue, whether or not that's been diagnosed for you or not. It's typically diagnosed with a cortisol test and using saliva, most likely. And so you may or may not have been diagnosed with adrenal fatigue. I will say that I was diagnosed with adrenal fatigue, and every doctor said they could fix it with this, or this, and nothing touched it, because what was actually creating the chronic stress was not going to be fixed by just supporting my adrenals. We had to go further than that and actually fix the problem that was causing the stress to begin with, and then my adrenals could heal naturally. You know, your body is designed to heal pretty much anything given a little excess resources to work with. I mentioned earlier that stress lowers your hydrochloric acid in your stomach. And so a lot of times people will get heartburn, acid reflux, and acid reflux isn't actually due to what you think it's due to. It's actually due to the hydrochloric acid in your stomach being too low. That acid in your stomach is what keeps the pressure on the valve so that your stomach stays like good and closed and tight, unless you're consuming food and it opens to allow, new things to come in. And so when your hydrochloric acid production isn't sufficient, it's going to create all kinds of additional digestive issues. And then, as I mentioned earlier, it makes it really challenging to process even the most nutrient dense diet and proteins that are so critical to nourish your blood, which nourishes every other part of your body. It's just a domino effect that leads to this problem. And this is just an example of one of the countless ways stress creates symptoms and other health issues, especially during menopause. I created a video that shows you how to eliminate menopause symptoms naturally, so I'll make sure to link to it below this video. But make sure you hit subscribe too, because I share a lot of tips when it comes to dealing with stress that's become toxic. Relieving the nasty symptoms stress creates makes navigating through menopause a breeze. So the next thing I want to discuss is some natural treatment options that you can use to help you deal with menopause fatigue. And so the first one is exercise. And I'm not talking about really strenuous exercise here that will sabotage your efforts, because you'll create more of a cortisol spike. What you want is really gentle exercise, preferably walking, yoga, those sorts of things. Even strength training can be really helpful if you don't overdo it, because building muscle mass is really critical during this time. But if you are going to use intense exercise, please make sure that you limit that to 30 minutes or less. Next, we're going to talk about diet. Diet is one of those things that I kind of don't like to refer to it as a diet. It's more of a lifestyle adjustment. Any crazy diet, calorie restriction, keto, paleo, you name it, is really not sustainable and is not going to get the job done long term. What you want is to adjust your lifestyle. You're going to want to eat a nutrient dense, high quality diet. Again, we're going to deal with the stress, because if we don't deal with the stress, then even the highest quality diet isn't going to help us that much. But we also want to lean into some changes like intermittent fasting that will give our body time for digestive rest. When we're under a lot of additional stress, our body needs even more time and energy to be able to do the rest and restore. And if we're not giving our body enough time and condensing that eating window, then we will find that it's making all of these problems worse, because our body just does not have the excess resources it needs to be able to take care of the job that needs to get done. Also, sleep hygiene is really important, and that takes us back to what I mentioned previously about creating a nice, cool sleeping environment. But you also want to get rid of the electronics in the bedroom. And even if you do take something like iPad for reading or your phone, make sure you turn that phone off at night. And I mean off. Airplane mode if you absolutely have to, but off is preferable. And if you are going to read on a device at night, you're going to need some orange tinted blue blocker glasses to keep those screens from disrupting your body's natural process of recognizing that it's time to shut down. So even if we practice all the right things, we do everything right, and we may even find that we have made some progress and reversed some of these conditions, hormonal symptoms might return. And that is so frustrating. Like, seriously, I thought I handled this, right? But if you remember, it wasn't that long ago that we had to deal with this every month. And our hormones fluctuate even after we're not cycling anymore to some degree. So depending on what we've got going on, whether we're doing the right things, whether we've kept with all of our practices, if stress has really begun to trigger some of these old issues again, you may find that these symptoms are starting to return. And if that happens, I want you to remember what I say, that symptoms are clues. And this is just a sign that you kind of need to chill and take a little break, reduce some of that stress, and really get back to doing what you know you need to do to manage the stress and to give yourself a little more freed up energy for your body to do the healing that it is designed to do naturally. So there are more natural treatment options on my website and a link to the blog post in the description. But if your best efforts to live a healthy lifestyle and do all the things you've been led to think are supposed to work aren't getting the job done, you may even be feeling like you take 2 steps forward and 3 back. In my next video, I'll show you how to manage the toxic stress that's sabotaging your efforts. You can eliminate menopause symptoms naturally without medication, crazy diets, intense exercise, or any other unsustainable lifestyle hack.